This is something that I was going to go ahead and do a live with. However, when I went and looked, so many other people were already doing a live. I think there was like 2 or 3 in the true crime community that was having lives at this time. And I do not like to step in front of anybody else or anything like that. So I decided to just go ahead and do a video here and put it up. What we're going to talk about right now is an update on little James, and I'm not sure if any of you have had the opportunity to watch the video about little James. It is titled, Have You Heard About James? If you haven't had the opportunity to watch that, then if you have a few minutes to go see and watch his story, and his voice deserves to be heard. There is a little bit of an update, but not a lot to report. However, as I was looking for updates on James and his search and rescue, I came across some horrendous other news. It seems there was a little 3-year-old boy that was also thrown into the Ohio River, the same place where little James is. He was actually put into the river back in December. He's still not been found either. The boyfriend of the mother stabbed and murdered the mother, and then took little James in, our little Nylo, in his stroller and threw him into the Ohio River in December while he was still alive. We give the update on the search and rescue of James, since Nylo is mentioned in it as well. I'm going to give you a little backstory because I feel some of you that's not from that area may not have heard about Nylo. These two are another one of those cases that are not getting the national attention that some cases do. And I believe that these victims and victims' families deserve to be known and heard as well, whether it be national news or just my little corner of the YouTube world. So I would like to give these victims and families just a little voice and let their story be heard as well. And this is Nylo's story. This is a news clip from Fox 19 in Cincinnati, Ohio. It does explain some of Nylo's story. Nylo and his mother, Natisha.
One calls tell a chilling tale and the discovery of Nylo Lattimore's body on December 12th.
Prosecutors say that Lattimore and her 3-year-old son Nylo were killed by Deshaun Brown.
Mike Shell is live at Yateman's Cove where the body was discovered. So, Mike, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Jessica, prosecutors say it was here near the Purple Bridge that Nylo Lattimore's body was discovered back in December. A day later, Nylo's stroller was found in the water. A security guard who works in the area found the body.
Cincinnati 911, what is the address of your emergency?
I found a dead body.
Where at?
I'm at the corner of Pete Rose Way.
The Hamilton County prosecutor says Deshaun Brown killed Nylo Lattimore inside her Walnut Hills apartment on December 5th and kept the body there for 6 or 7 days.
Our evidence would indicate that he hid her under the bed.
The assistant prosecutor says his surveillance photo shows Brown carrying Lattimore out of the apartment in a body bag, but would not comment on whether or not they have security footage of Brown pushing Nylo past the same camera.
The body was left in the apartment until the body bag arrived, and that's when he took her down to the river.
Prosecutors say Brown purchased the body bag on eBay, but before he moved Lattimore's body, they say he picked up her cell phone and got on social media.
The Facebook post said something like, "I love Deshaun Brown forever." And based on the timing of that post and when we believe she was murdered, the only explanation is he was the one who made that post.
The prosecutor says Brown hired an Uber driver to take him to the river near the Purple Bridge, and that's when he disposed of Lattimore's body. They say 3-year-old Nylo was taken to the river about 4 days before that, and according to Joe Dieters, Brown threw him in the water while he was alive. There was a report that Brown first tied some weights on the boy.
No, we don't have any information about that.
The prosecution believes Brown wanted to dispose of Nylo because he didn't want the investigation to point in his direction. Now, Deshaun Brown scheduled back in court next Monday on the indictment for the death penalty. Reporting live downtown, Mike Shell, Fox 19 Now.
Some deaths of a Walnut Hills mother, Nylo Lattimore, and her 3-year-old son, Nylo. This story is heartbreaking. Let's send it right now to Mike Shell, who is live at Eaton's Cove, where police have said that's where the mother's body was found back in December, Mike.
Yeah, Jessica, not only was her body found here at the Yateman's Cove, but prosecutors believe this is where 20-year-old Deshaun Brown brought his girlfriend's young son as well. Hamilton County prosecutor says Deshaun Brown killed Nylo Lattimore inside her Walnut Hills apartment on December 5th and kept the body there for 6 or 7 days.
Our evidence would indicate that he hid her under the bed.
The assistant prosecutor says this surveillance photo shows Brown carrying Lattimore out of the apartment in a body bag, but would not comment on whether or not they have security footage of Brown pushing Nylo past the same camera.
The body was left in the apartment until the body bag arrived, and that's when he took her down to the river.
The body bag, the prosecutor says, was purchased on eBay. A simple search for adult body bag on eBay shows mostly purses and satchels, but we did find a few body bags that were for sale. The prosecutor says Brown hired an Uber driver to take him to the river near the Purple People Bridge, and that's when he disposed of Lattimore's body. They say 3-year-old Nylo was taken to the river about 4 days before that, and according to Joe Dieters, Brown threw him in the water while he was alive. There was a report that Brown first tied some weights on the boy.
No, we don't have any information about that.
The prosecution believes Brown wanted to dispose of Nylo because he didn't want the investigation to point in his direction. The prosecution team says they met with the Lattimore family yesterday.
The family is in an immense amount of pain, I'm sure you can imagine. They are dealing with grief that most people thankfully never have to experience.
Brown sits in jail, awaiting trial for the murder of a mother and her young son.
He made a choice and he decided that this little boy's life wasn't worth what he had done to the mom and going to prison for the rest of his life. And he chose to kill Nylo in an incredibly barbaric method.
Investigators say they found Nylo's blood on a blanket that was with Nytisha's body. The toddler stroller was also found by the Ohio River. Dieter says they believe Brown threw the boy in alive.
It's a gruesome case. I cannot even imagine what that little boy was going through.
Prosecutors say Brown stabbed Nylo Lattimore to death December 5th in her Walnut Hills apartment. They believe her body was left there for 6 days.
And at some point, he purchased a body bag after that from eBay.
Dieter says this is the bag. Out of respect for the family, we're not showing another photo, which Dieter says shows Brown carrying Nytisha's body in that bag wrapped in a blanket. Investigators say he took an Uber to the Purple People Bridge to dispose of the body, telling the driver the bundle was full of clothes.
He knew he was going to kill her for 2 months. I mean, this was a very premeditated murder.
Her body was found December 12th. Despite exhaustive search efforts, Nylo has not been recovered.
And they're still looking for Nylo, but it's pretty clear that he died a miserable death.
Now, investigators cannot say just what evidence link Brown to Nylo's murder. They do say, though, those details will come out in court. Reporting live at Yateman's Cove, Molly Lair, WLWT News 5.
Molly, I think the question so many people are asking, why do investigators think this happened? Is there any motive?
Well, Dieters did say there were some relationship issues between Brown and Nylo Lattimore, but he essentially said that Nylo was collateral damage. He was a link to Lattimore that Brown did not want to risk. Mike.
All right, Molly Lair live for us.
In this last clip we're going to watch here about Nylo, this is actually his grandfather and Nytisha's dad.
Is a monster.
It's been nearly 3 months since Roderick Lattimore saw his daughter, Nylo Lattimore, and her 3-year-old son, Nylo, alive.
Friends, family. The Lattimore family is a large family, and the Hunter family. We all loved her. Nylo. We loved Nylo.
Today, Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters announced her boyfriend, 21-year-old Deshaun Brown, has been indicted for both their murders in December. Dieters shared details of a body bag he says Brown bought on eBay for Nytisha and little Nylo thrown into the river while still alive.
He chose to kill Nylo in an incredibly barbaric method. And I still have nightmares about this.
Dieters says Brown faces the death penalty. He says he planned to kill months in advance, left Nytisha's body in her apartment 5 days, and took an Uber to the river, claiming the body bag was clothes.
Deshaun Brown, you deserve the death penalty for what you did to my grandson and my daughter. You deserve the death penalty. No mercy, none.
For this father, every detail is more devastating.
My daughter should be living right now. My grandson should be alive right now.
Now he prays and fights for justice.
Her and Nylo, they're in heaven, you know. And this scumbag deserves to be in hell. He needs to burn in hell.
Now, Lattimore says he didn't talk to Nytisha every day, and he wished he'd known that there was something going on so he could go and try to rescue them. He says that now they all have to plan for another funeral, and it's a very difficult time for the family, so he is just asking for prayers. Reporting live, Dan Griffin, WLWT News 5.
Yeah, we can't even imagine what they're going through, Dan. We know volunteers have been spending countless hours searching for little Nylo. Since he's not been found, what happens with those efforts?
So the Cincinnati police chief today commended all those people who have been searching for Nylo. That will continue until he's found. But clearly, today has just been devastating for so many people, Cherie.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dan Griffin, live for us tonight. Dan,
Real. Unreal. It makes you wonder, little James, did his family even know about Nylo? Did they know that Nylo was in that river as well? When they put James in there too? Nylo was still alive when he was thrown into the river. Allegedly, James had already passed away. But here is an update for today, current, in the search and rescue of these two little boys. In one case, the mother was murdered as well by the boyfriend. In the other case of little James, the mother and the boyfriend worked together.
Prosecutor says dive teams found what he is calling a target of interest in the Ohio River during their search for 6-year-old James Hutchinson's body. Good afternoon. I'm Cheryl McHenry.
And I'm James Brown. Prosecutors said that little Middletown boy's mom killed him in Preble County by dragging him and possibly running over him with her car at a park. Then investigators said mom and her boyfriend dumped James' body in the Ohio River, not too far from Lawrenceburg, Indiana. That's where dive teams were looking today when they made this discovery.
News Center 7's John Bedell is live in Eaton with the latest on this search. John?
Yeah, Cheryl and James, this is a case that so many people across our viewing area have had all kinds of questions about, and this search is one everybody has been keeping a very close eye on for weeks now. Now, we're here in Eaton because the Preble County Sheriff's Office is involved in this death investigation, and Preble County Sheriff Mike Simpson told me he had 3 of his deputies at that search scene today. 2 of his command staffers and then also one of the sheriff's office's detectives have been in Lawrenceburg, Indiana today. We've told you crews have been searching this stretch of the Ohio for weeks now, and how their work has been made much more difficult because of how high and how fast the Ohio has been running lately because of recent rain that we've had across our viewing area and across Southwest Ohio. I want to show you some video of the search scene in Lawrenceburg, Indiana today. I can tell you that there were 2 dive teams working on the water today with boats and divers in the water. The area of the river that they put in at, there's a boat ramp there that's about 3 miles downstream from the I-275 bridge, where prosecutors say Brittany Gosney and her boyfriend, James Hamilton, dumped James Hutchinson's body into the Ohio River on February 28th. This is also an area where crews have been looking for the remains of Nylo Lattimore. He was a little child from Cincinnati. Then at some point during their search today, using sonar technology as a part of their search, Butler County's prosecutor Mike Moser said crews found what he described as, quote, a target of interest.
I think it is enough to say at this point that there was a target of interest that we felt important to fully review, and we had a high level of confidence that this target would be the remains of a human being. Now, whether that pans out or not, it could be a log that just happens to look like a human being. Ultimately, we're using sonar, not television, and so it's sometimes difficult to make that determination from the instrumentalities that they have available.
So again, to be clear about what Moser is telling us here, he has not said whether this is in fact a body, and he has also not said whether those remains, they have not said those are the remains of either James Hutchinson or, again, 3-year-old Nylo Lattimore. Crews have been searching that part of the Ohio for both of their remains. Hamilton County's prosecutor has said, if you aren't familiar with this story, that Nylo Lattimore was a 3-year-old boy his mother was killed by her boyfriend, and then he is accused of throwing Nylo into the Ohio River in Cincinnati. Prosecutors say potentially while he was still alive. Now, we will let you know what investigators say they found today in the Ohio near Lawrenceburg, and if it was in fact a body, whose remains they are. I'll also have another update for you live from here in Eaton at 6 o'clock about what Moser is saying about the dangers these dive teams are facing as they are continuing to search that stretch of the river for the remains of both of these children. For now, though, we're live in Eaton this afternoon. I'm John Bedell, News Center 7.
Unreal. Things like this should never happen. If the death penalty has ever been justified, it is for cases like these 2 babies, as well as little Mackenzie that I talked about on our other channel last night. These children don't deserve this. These monsters that want to call themselves parents, caregivers, boyfriends, they're just coming out of the woodwork everywhere. 2 babies in one river. And the mother of one of them found beside the river, stabbed to death by the quote unquote boyfriend that kept her body in his apartment under the bed, deceased, for 6 days, waiting on a body bag that he had ordered from eBay to arrive to put her in. And then calling an Uber driver to transport him and the body to the river. So he takes the baby, puts him in a stroller, and throws him in this river alive. Accusations that he tied weights to this baby. And even though it's said that they have no proof of that, then it seems like it's highly likely, because the stroller was found, but no baby. And little James, his little body still not found either. And his own mother is the one that did this to him. The world has gotten so evil. When parents are doing this to their own innocent children, what is the world coming to? When you can't even trust your own mother. This is the last clip I have about the search and rescue today for the 2 children. I will continue to keep us updated on these cases. Sadly, I just found out about little Nylo today when I was doing research to see if there was any news on James. That is when I found out about Nylo. These cases go unheard. These children matter too. Just because they're not on Nancy Grace, Fox News, Today's Show, they matter. And if I can give a voice to their story outside of their local news, then that's what I'm going to do. Many of you have written to me and offered to help me to find cases. You never know when we may can help someone. We may can help a family. Their stories matter too. And their lives mattered. And people do care. And these children matter. All children matters. Even as we speak right now, there's a child being abused or worse. This has got to stop. This has got to have more attention brought to it. When these people realize that the acts they're committing are not staying in one little area, then they're going to realize and they're going to see the world will justify their death penalties. Period. I don't always believe in the death penalty. I don't. But in cases such as the ones I've covered recently, you damn right I do.
But no answers just yet in the search for the body of a missing boy. And good evening to you. I'm Cherie Palello. Now, search crews and divers have been out here at it all day again today, looking for the remains of 6-year-old James Hutchinson in the Ohio River. WLWT News 5's Molly Lair live for us in Boone County, Kentucky with the very latest. There was a bit of hope earlier, right, Molly?
Yes, Cherie, and there is still hope, but nothing has been found yet. This is the spot, though, where Boone County Water Rescue is getting in and out of the Ohio River. The search, though, is focused upstream here around the Carroll Cropper Bridge in Lawrenceburg. So far, no body has been found. Officials say sonar and cadaver dogs alerted them to what they call a target of interest in the Ohio River. Butler County Prosecuting Attorney Michael Moser says the search to recover James Hutchinson has been ongoing. And this is near the area where officials believe his mother tossed his body in the river. Crews have been out every weekend looking for signs of the boy's body. There was clearly hope they would recover his body today, but so far, nothing.
There was enough scientific evidence from sonar and other methods to at least have a level of confidence that a body of some type was underwater and needed to be retrieved. And that's the purpose of those teams being down there.
Now, officials tell me they are going bank to bank on the Ohio. One crew with Boone County Water Rescue came back in around 2 o'clock this afternoon. With them were 2 people from the coroner's office. They and Moser all left shortly thereafter around 2:30. It's unclear at this point if the search will continue in this area tomorrow. Reporting live in Boone County, Molly Lair, WLWT News 5.
So, Molly, we know divers stayed out of the water, of course, for about a week due to the flooding and bad conditions. What changed?
Well, Cherie, the river level itself has gone down, so that's the good news, but the water is still moving swiftly, and it's still very murky and difficult to see in. So I'm told normally divers would not go down in these conditions. Normally, they wouldn't go in if the water is moving 1 mile per hour or more, and right now we're told it's moving at 2 miles per hour, but that's just what the lengths that they're going to try to bring this boy's body home. Cherie.
I know this has become personal for so many of those rescue workers out there. Molly, thanks so much. Molly leading the way for us tonight on that breaking news and also breaking.
I will keep us updated on these cases of these babies. And until next time, This is Unjustified.